We are. Oh, there we
Oh,
go. I think it's beginning to record. So, hi,
great.
Celeste. I'm so happy and welcome, welcome. This is just one of my favorite things to be able to have a conversation and talk to you, and especially about the work, which we both love so very much. So, my guest
Lovely.
today is Celeste Gabrielle, and she has been involved in the work for many years, and we're going to hear a little bit about that and how she first became involved and what happened and what the work has meant to her in her life, which is so meaningful for a lot of us to hear about. So,
Yeah.
yeah, Celeste, welcome, welcome.
Well, feeling that welcome, and it's just so beautiful to be with you too. This that you make that available, all what you do in the work with people. Just love it, love it, love it.
I'm so happy, and it's so sweet to be talking with you. I met you in Seattle, where you used to live. So we were in the same city, and you were offering, I can't remember exactly how we ran across each other. It probably was my very first school. You were probably on staff or attending the school, and then we realized that we both lived in Seattle. And when I say school, I mean school for the work, in case
Yeah.
anyone doesn't understand. Yes. And then you offered sessions for people to come over and come to your cute little apartment and beautiful place and come do the work with you. And I came, and it was really wonderful. And later on, I remember that you helped me. You were actually an incredible help in one of the first sort of public things that I ever did, which was just a workshop sort of training for people who worked in hospice field, because I had had a job where I worked in hospice, and so you came in and were just so supportive. What do you want me to do, Grace? How would you like me to help? I'll hand out papers, and it was awesome.
Yeah, doesn't it feel like another life also, isn't it? It's like so long ago, and so wow, we both have inquired since then.
This is so true. So how did you, and I love that. Let's go back. How
Yeah.
did you first encounter the work? Like, what was happening in your life and what made it feel like something, if it did when you first encountered it, as something you wanted to do more of? Like, what
Yeah.
happened?
Well, at that point, so that is now 2000, when I was introduced to the work. And I wasn't really looking for anything. I was kind of like the Buddha under the tree and, you know, meditating, and already had a guru, had a teacher, and was now finally in my own, I thought. And so I heard from Katie, or about Katie, from three different sources. And it was always like the second time still was like, nah, not interested. The third time it was kind of like, oh, my mom used to say, if people bring it to you, you may want to listen. So there was a third time. And I found myself going to an event with Katie in Marin County, where a friend of mine said he would take me to Katie and let her do what she does best, to do the work with me. So I was ready, I was there, he didn't show up. And I call him and I say, so I thought we were going to meet here at Katie's place. You're not here, what's going on? And he says, well, I'm in bed, I'm depressed. And I went, okay, I don't think I need this one, but I'm already here, so I go in, and I had, as the mind does it, the judgment, this is not going to help. It's not going to help anybody, and not me, and not my friend who is depressed, but I went in anyway. And so it was already prejudged that this work is not going to, so I didn't really like it.
Oh, that's so
Tried
funny. That's great.
Yeah, so I tried to get out of it, and kind of not being seen, leaving the room. leaving, going into the bathroom. At that point, Katie had a bathroom break, and we both, like in the same area, bathroom, we're both coming out of the stall, and I run into her. And she says, well, hi, what are you doing here? And hi, honey. And I tell her the story of my friend who is in bed, depressed. And she says, oh, wonderful. And that was my first initiation actually to the work, which I didn't know what the work really was about. I felt the lift. I felt the positive life Katie is really living. And later on, I had my worksheet on her to write. And so this is how it really started. And I had to go back into the room and experience the work. And later on, I had my work with Katie. She facilitated me at the work. And from there, I could never leave. And I didn't want to leave. It was just became my tool.
Wow. Do you remember what that facilitation was like, or what you were looking at or investigating when?
Yes. My worksheet was about my father. My father didn't love me. And so when Katie went straight to your father didn't love you, is it true? I said yes. I mean, I didn't even go inside. I didn't know how to do that yet. I just stayed right here and I started arguing and telling her how my father was just really abusive. And she says, honey, it was just an answer, just a yes or no. It will be okay. And so when she asked me the second question, can you absolutely know that this is true, that your father didn't love you? I just couldn't. I couldn't know.
Wow.
So powerful. So I got a father I never had. After that worksheet was done, I had my father, really, although he wasn't alive anymore, but I had him as the father I never knew.
That's so beautiful. I love that. How do you think that affected your life from that point forward? I know sometimes it's hard to determine, but is there any way that you saw
Yes.
that?
Well, as I know now, that ill will, a stressful thought about any human beings will have to be projected onto the next one. So my relationships with men, they were really fearful and believing that they would react like my father was reacting to me.
So
So
powerful.
after that work was done, I just had so much looking forward to situation to meet men, and I would go out and just really to watch what still was left of my story about. And there were lots of pieces there I hadn't looked yet.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
that
What a
brings me
wonderful.
to, that brings me to the number 6 on the worksheet. When we look at the worksheet, it says, I'm willing and I'm looking forward to it.
I absolutely love that.
I
Yes,
love
that's
that,
such a
number 6.
so profound. Yeah, so profound.
Yeah,
So that's a and the worksheet you mean is of course the Judge Your Neighbor worksheet. And
yeah,
when you get to write down all those thoughts that are just pouring out of you
yeah,
and saying what it is that you don't ever want to experience again, and instead looking at this with this, I love the investigation of that, or just trying it on. It doesn't mean you're kind of forcing anything, but instead of, I don't ever want to experience this again, I'm willing to experience this again, a person like this, or an encounter, or a situation like
yes,
this.
yes.
Yeah,
Which even, later on in my time with the work would be on my worksheet. I don't ever want my father to humiliate me in front of a group of people. I'm willing and I'm looking forward to it. And here it was. It wasn't my father. It was someone else who was helping me to see what I didn't want it to yet. what I hadn't yet accepted inside of myself.
Wow, it's just so very profound, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah,
And
so
then,
beautiful.
so as you began to practice, so this must have been, oh, you recognize the freedom, right? I mean,
Yeah,
can you imagine like looking forward to something that previously you did everything that possible to avoid, or make sure whatever I do, I don't want to have that kind of situation happen, which of course
right.
you can't control. But
Yes.
so what happened from there? How did you become to uh, continue practicing the work and then work with other people with this amazing work that you do?
So, since I had my guru already, I didn't feel like I wanted to follow another guru, another teacher, and I was looking for how that might look, that I wanted to have more of the experience of the work. So I started, as you know, I started that little inquiry circle out of my apartment.
That's right.
Yeah,
That's right. Yes.
I think I even did that before I went to the school, but I can say the school, whoever listens to this recording is just a school. If you can go, just go. It's so amazing. I just,
Do you
ah,
remember the first school that you went to, and what was one thing that you took out of? I know there's so many that could be, but I love the way Katie will move you through different human experiences so that you get to look at different areas of your life. But do you remember something that made a really big impact on you, that kind of opened your eyes from the
yeah,
first school
yes,
that you
yes.
went to?
Yeah, well, there was this picking one specific person who you have been suffering over, so the most stressful situation in a way, putting it on a person. He was a lover I had, and I thought I always wanted him to be my lover, my husband, the one I wanted to be with for the rest of my life. And when I had my Geneva worksheet worked in the school, I saw that what I really wanted is me. So,
Oh.
the turnarounds are so powerful when it comes to he should do that for me. I want to do that for me, which is really much, much truer when we come to the turnarounds. Always, in my experience, always is. The turnaround is always more true than the original statement on the Judge Geneva worksheet. So that probably, yeah, I would say not probably. That was my strongest, without giving any exercises away, because I love everybody who comes to the school have their own experience and is so surprised as I was, because luckily I did not know anything about any exercises. They happen there in the school. Yeah.
Beautiful. Well, and
And
then,
yeah, keep going. Yeah, I like to answer your question. You have great questions.
well, good. Well, it's just so fabulous. So, I mean, it's so interesting to see too everyone's life and how it's touched in these unique ways. It's just right for you, where you come around to. I love what you were saying. Whatever it is you think you want it to be different out in the world, and what a common place. I want a relationship. This person who's out there on the planet needs to be with me, and then to turn that around, I need to be with me. And how, oh, like what a relaxing thing that is. How amazing. You
That
just don't
brings
have
me
to.
also to share with, I was looking what I work on the most in my life, or have when I started doing my website, and it was always about fear. So I was a child who was brought up from a wonderful father, as I know now he is, after I did my worksheet on him. He,
Yes.
he helped me a lot to look into fear. For example, he would say, well, you don't have to be afraid of that, and um, or just drop it. And I was such a fearful child that I looked a lot on situations where I was afraid. So my worksheets were a lot about fearful situations, and yeah, those number sixes, they would bring it to me again, where people would, for example, have a wonderful example where I had a client who now is my friend, doing a Judge Your Neighbor worksheet in his first school. So Katie says, is there anybody who wants to read their Judge Your Neighbor worksheet? And there was the opening night, and he wrote it on me, and I was just so surprised. I thought there was nothing going on from his side towards me. Well, here it was. And here was that what I never wanted to experience again, and I'm willing and I'm looking forward to be exposed. So there was a large group of people, it was like 300-400 people hearing, you know, I'm angry with Celeste because she is blah, blah, blah.
Wow, isn't that incredible?
It was amazing, and I did have a reaction to it, you know.
Sure,
And
I love
I
that.
went right to work, and it took me a couple of days to not see him in the hotel where he was, and minding my own business and working on it.
How fabulous. It's an incredible experience to go all the way that far to that where you're willing to hear, I mean, these sort of, you know, this place of what the work is begins with looking at what your dark, judgmental, childish, ridiculous thoughts are, right?
Yeah.
You know, that you
Yeah.
usually judge and suppress. And then how liberating it is to work with them and see and really investigate. But then really, if someone else is speaking these out loud or saying them or writing them about you, wow, what another level. I totally get it. I did
Yeah.
a session with my own sister, one of my sisters, I have 3 sisters, and one of them, we wrote worksheets on each other, all the thoughts that we would never want to say out loud or be frightened of even thinking, and scheduled 4 hours together so that we could read our worksheets and then facilitate one another. And it was an
Wow.
amazing experience.
Beautiful. That's my favorite, actually. If I have a favorite, I have to say it's like the couples, family members coming together and reading each other's worksheet to each other, and then have a facilitator there.
So incredible, because it's these just so much, like you said, I love the looking at fear about other people hearing our petty judgments and what they are, and feeling like it, realizing that it's just the mind that's its job. That's what it does, and to have that, the relief first of being able to say it, but then for someone else to even hear this. I've worked with people before who say they want to burn their worksheet immediately after. They don't ever want their children to find it or their spouse. It's so scary. But to have that stop being as frightening, and
Yeah.
even then all the way to what you just mentioned, where people work right in front of a whole audience with Byron Katie, and they're hearing the judgments that they have about each other. Wow, it is.
Yeah, yeah. And people like me, I hadn't had a father, and then I got my father back. And now I can support people. They, had never had a good relationship with their sister, for example, and they're doing this worksheet together, and now they're communicating, and they travel with each other, and it's just so beautiful, so beautiful.
So fabulous. So say a little bit about where you live and how you work with people and how people might be able to find you if they wanted to,
Yeah.
do the work with you.
So, I'm a certified facilitator, and I live in Ojai, actually, where the Center for the Work is. And I get to work in Turnaround House. This is a 28-day program where people coming from all over the world, they're immersing themselves in the work for 28 days. And just fabulous. So I get to do that, and I go to the school, which is also now here in Ojai, twice a year, in March and in October. So it's coming up in March again. And then I have my private clients. They call me on Skype, or if they're here in the area, they come and see me here. There's also the ITW, the Institute for the Work, where people can step into if they want to take it deeper or further. They want to maybe even become a certified facilitator in their classes. So I offer classes with another certified facilitator. We're offering that, and then there is this fabulous place, the helpline, as you know too. I see you're on
Yeah.
there.
I love the
So,
helpline. The helpline is free, everybody. So if people don't know that, the helpline you can find by going to thework.com, and you look for where the helpline is on there, and you just click on it, and you'll get to see all the certified facilitators or facilitators in training who've done the work a lot, who've gone through a lot before they can offer their services there, and it's just free. They put their contact information and when you can call them or Skype them, and they just take incoming calls for the time that they're scheduled, and it's very powerful. Good way to
yeah.
get a chance to do the work.
Yeah. And I also, what I'm so grateful for is when I do get to work with people, how there are times when they bring me something, I haven't looked at yet, or just a different version of my way of how my life was. And it's always a surprise. So when I first saw Katie working with people, and I thought, how can she listen to all those people over and over and over again, like for hours? And now I know. It's
Yeah.
just staying being the student. Really, that's what we are. We are the student by facilitating other people. We're just giving them the question, and the answers are in all of us. And there's no teacher needed.
So
You're just
powerful. I get the
so
same. Yeah.
powerful. And what a
Yeah.
lovely life to live like that.
Absolutely amazing life. You got
Hmm.
it. It's just
Yeah.
incredible. Yeah. Well, I'm so grateful for what you do, appreciating what you do and who you are. Thank you for sharing with me today and with whoever's watching this. So delighted to
Hmm.
be with you, Celeste. You're so
Thank
awesome.
you. Thank you so much
Yeah.
for having me today. And in any ways I can of support, just find me on. I have my website there. You look on the certified page there from Katie, and there's also a website of mine there. Very happy to support, and I have lots of time, since I'm a single woman, no children and no husband who calls me, and so I'm available a lot.
That's awesome. I love it. It's just perfect, as it should be, right?
It's so perfect.
Uh, Wonderful. I love what you're doing, and thank you so much for being with me today.
Thank you, Grace, and thank you for the invitation, and thank you for what you do.
You're welcome.
Okay.